Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Shantia here. So today we're going to be doing a review for Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 12. I was so annoyed when there wasn't an episode last week. I was like, what? I don't want to watch any of these other episodes of people commenting. Like, that's what I watch YouTube for. And y'all on YouTube give the best reviews, the best comments over the show, and Twitter is savage. So that's my entertainment for reviews. I don't need people talking about the show on the day where I need to be seeing an episode of the show. So I don't know what was up with that filler episode. So they took a pause. I just did some other things in my life, focused on that, and then here we are, we're back to it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this episode. It was a continuation of what the couples were already going through, their conflicts, their issues. All of that is shown up in this episode. I thought it was actually a pretty boring episode. I fell asleep on the after party, and partly it was because I ate a bunch of carbs, and carbs put me to sleep. So I didn't stay awake for that. I had to rewatch it. I was happy to hear some of the points that Elijah made and his mother made in that episode. I thought that was really cool what his mom said about his relationship. So let's go ahead and get into this review, starting with Michael and Jasmina. Barely any notes for them because they're the least problematic, and probably because Jasmina and Michael are still stuck in the friend zone. So they're still stuck in the friend zone. Now, what I'm seeing cultivate between the two of them is a kindness and respect between one another. Michael decided to take Jasmina out to help her, show her how to learn how to drive. He's very much very practical. He's thinking about the ways in which he can be useful, productive in his relationship, in his partnership. And so he's very much like thinking about that structure. What is missing from him for me is the romance. First, let's go ahead and talk about the car. I thought that was so cute when he was showing her how to drive. They have a genuine like comedic back and forth that I enjoy. Like if it was like a sitcom or something, I would enjoy it. I think they're very playful. And just as Jasmina said, they're learning how to enjoy one another, which is very important. It's like if you can't enjoy your partner, it's like how can you sustain through the drama and through all the issues that may befall you? Because we know life is like this, no matter what. You can't get away from the roller coaster. You can't get away from the ups and downs. Like this is our challenge in life, is to like grow in that experience. By the way, I didn't say this. If you are new to this channel is dedicated to helping women live in a way that feels the most natural to them. If you have not checked out my Heal, Feel, and Reveal series, go ahead and check it out. It's a series that I'm absolutely passionate about. I'm about to release lesson 8 about food and my rules about food and how I've learned to stay slim for well over a decade. Okay, so let's get back to the review. I think the true winner of this episode for Jasmina and Michael was Feeny. Actually, all the pets. Feeny, Sushi, the cats, with like all the pets were the winners in this episode. They were just so cute, their expressions. So while Michael was having a conversation with his sister, he talked about how the physical connection between the two of them is lacking. It's moving at a slower pace, and he feels like he's so in his head. Probably because there's just a lack of connection. So on his part, I would say just find a way to get out of your head, I know to some degree when it comes to masculine and feminine energy, men do need that signal for women to get the go so that they can feel like they're not invading. I mean, let's just say like their job is to penetrate, right? Penetrate your bubble. And if you can't like open up and allow them to come towards you, they're gonna hesitate. They can feel that hesitation. So the funny, crazy part is when she was having a conversation with her mom, she said that her heart is 100% open. I don't know about that. I don't know what her 100% is. I'm not feeling that. I'm not getting that from her. But that's actually what I mentioned in my previous video, is you got to open your heart to feel the feelings. I just don't get that. It's the way that she is around him. Her hands are just to herself. She's leaning back. She feels very like her energy feels restrained. Like she almost wants to connect with him, but doesn't really. And I think part of that might be due to the lack of attraction. I would say personally, as someone like a female viewer watching Michael, I think it's just, there's more the romance he needs to bring it out, and the confidence, or some kind of swag, or just like some magic, some fun. The subtle humor I think is cool. He's just a very subtle guy, and then that serious energy. Me and my dad were watching him and we're just like, he just seems really serious, and it's hard to like really enjoy or even want to be attracted to that all the time, because you need just a little bit of something else, some kind of spark. I feel like honestly, that's like a personal journey you have to go on to bring that spark out, to radiate. Women aren't the only ones who radiate, men too. They radiate if they step into their confidence. And I feel like if he can step into his confidence and truly just like let that ooze out, people are going to be naturally very attracted to him. Till then, he's going to attract women who tend to be a little bit more slower or tend to be more intellectual like him. In a partnership, you know, you want a little bit of spice or fire to bring in that attraction, like the hotness, right? The sexiness. We're missing it. Michael said that he's putting 110% effort. Now, I have a problem with this statement. For one, it's married at first sight. You can take your time. You don't need to put 110% effort. I think just by being in front of the cameras and wanting to connect with someone, you're putting in a lot of effort as is. But when you're saying you're putting in 110% effort and you're not getting the return, I have a problem with that. That's not her job to give you the 110% return. It's your job. It's your job. It's like, I have an issue when people say, I will do so much, I will do everything, but I get nothing back. I'm like, that's your problem. You're giving too much. Restrain it. Give so that you feel happy with what you're giving. That's the point. Giving, generosity, it's not necessarily about expecting anything back. Yes, you want a nice push and pull of that exchange between you and your partner. I feel like he's doing tit for tat. He's doing too much math in his head about what he's getting, what he's giving and what he's getting. I'm like, if you feel like you're giving 100% back and you're getting like 30, there's something off with that math. I'm glad you use your mind. Now use your heart to decide what feels natural for you. If you need to like sit in that friend zone and rock that friend zone, maybe that's what you need to do. But it's up to you to decide how much you give people. You have to be okay with whatever you're giving at all times. If you feel like you're being taken advantage of, you got to communicate. You got to be direct. If you're not getting what you want back, then you got to decide, hey, do I want to be in this partnership or do I want out? Do I have the patience to wait for you to grow or do I want out? The complaining, people are mirrors. They're not here to like give us everything that we want and be our ultimate dream, perfect partner. They're here to mirror to us the things that we need to work on. So if we have a problem, if we feel like we're not getting enough in that partnership, then go ahead and just move on and find someone who does reciprocate in a way that makes you feel really powerful or connected. That is my summation of Jasmina and Michael. I think so far out of all the couples, because they're in the friend zone, they seem the less likely to say yes. Both of them said that if they don't cultivate those feelings, they're not going to say yes. I think Jasmina, again, it's the vulnerability thing, but I also think don't force it where it doesn't fit. If you're not attracted to someone, something's missing, then that's fine. If you're looking for something else, for a different kind of spark or connection, then go look for that. Like, don't hold onto someone and mislead them and be like, oh yeah, we have potential when there isn't potential. Let's go ahead and move on to, let's go ahead and talk about Lindsay and Mark. So the cats were the winner in this episode. I love, like, whoever edited that scene with the cats where they were fighting. Genius. Amazing. And one of the first scenes was that Mark was creating this whiteboard with Lindsay. He was like, okay, we're gonna write a schedule, we're gonna connect, we're gonna make sure we're on the same page. And Lindsay's like, oh, I love that. That's such a great idea. And she always lays it on thick. Like the love, she lays it on thick, just as well as the hate. She lays both of it on thick because she's up and down. And then later they're both shopping. Every time Mark looks at her, he looks scared. Like he's like, what's gonna happen now? What's gonna happen today? I don't know. Which Lindsay am I going to get today? I don't know. One thing I want to talk about is the spectrum of emotions does make someone very magnetic. It makes you very attractive because people want to see that you're multifaceted. They want to see that as a woman, especially, you're mysterious. You have multiple sides to you. You know, you can be serious, you can be emotional, you can be motherly, you can be stern, you can be a little dominatrix and bring out all of those different aspects to your personality. And I feel like Lindsay, that's her appeal. She has that wide spectrum and it makes her very magnetic. Underneath the surface, it's like a raging storm all the time. Like you just don't know what emotions are gonna come bubbling outside of her. So while they're shopping, Mark kept talking about, you know, hey, we need to stay on budget. She's whirling around, choosing this fruit, that fruit. It just really goes to show their personality. It also goes to show the feminine and masculine perspective. Women tend to be a little bit more wooey, right? They tend to be the part of the relationship that brings that expansiveness, right? I want this, we want that, we want this for our kids, this dream, this desire. And the man's like, oh, no, we need to stick to the budget, we need structure. So I feel like they have that natural masculine and feminine pool, which helps to create actually the attraction. Compared to Jasmina and Michael, Lindsay and Mark actually do have a natural polarity between the two of them that's generating some kind of attraction. And it can help to make and build and generate emotions and feelings. Mark was just crying. Was it last week or the week before? Well, it wasn't last week because there was no episode last week. But the episode where they went camping, he got really emotional. So that just goes to show people can generate feelings for you when you are attracting them in that sense. You're creating that feminine polarity for them. So while Steve and Mark were playing with the football, Steve brought up, oh, hey, yeah, you need a job, man. Like, it's very important for you to have a job because of sustainability. I just thought that was funny that he brought that up, because we all know that the whole, like, the elephant in the room has been Steve's job. Job, no job, it's a mystery because he hasn't really explained it very clearly. Fast forward later, Lindsay's like, oh, Mark's on her bad side. He's lost her trust, and she keeps saying this. He's never consistent. He's never this. He's never that. He's never. She's a catastrophic thinker. So one moment it can go from things are great and beautiful and amazing to things are horrible in a relationship, terrible, nothing's working out. He's not doing anything I want. He's totally lost my trust. I could not. No self-respecting man can sustain themselves in that partnership, because what are they going to do? What are they going to do? I think we've all talked about the issues with Lindsay and in the relationship and the partnership, and how she talks to Mark and has emasculated him. And talked down at him and belittled him. So there really isn't more to say or add to that. While Mark is sitting down having this conversation with his female friend, talking about how the communication is essentially complicated, he doesn't know how to approach her or talk to her. I'm like, it shouldn't be that complicated. It should not. To me, like, just like Michael, once you start getting in your head and things start feeling confusing, it's not for you. It's either the wrong timing or it's not the right relationship. Love, flow, relationships are not that confusing. Knowing whether you want to be with someone or not is not confusing. If things start to get confusing, it's because something has not been figured out. And either you need to ask the right questions to figure it out, or you need to take the action. Time and time again, I've said it, the only real, I think, healthy solution for Mark is to leave the relationship, because Lindsay has so much healing to do on her own before she is in a partnership. She doesn't have the emotional compassion and kindness to be in a relationship. So if you ever feel like your relationship is getting to the point where it's like really complicated and you're stuck on the same issues, either seek a therapist, like seek outward help where you guys are getting counsel together and you're working on the issue together, or you're getting a third party, a third unbiased, objective party to help you with making progress, or you're going to be stuck in the muck. So stuck in the muck, or you can try to apply. If that person isn't making or taking the change, move on. Like, I'm all about moving on. I know sometimes we struggle, but struggle love, struggle relationship, struggle life is a choice. And life is not it's not that complicated. We hold on to these relationships. Like, let's go ahead and dip into this for a second. Will and Jada, for example. Like, the confusion of it all, the dynamic. It's like, it shouldn't be that confusing. It's like, do you want to be together? If we start taking hits at one another, where we're measuring our hits and we're saying, hey, you did this to me, so I'm gonna get you back, then you know this is not unconditional love. That is not unconditional love. You gotta watch that. Okay, so that's all I'm gonna say about that. I personally like to say I like to talk about Married at First Sight. I like to stay away from talking about celebrities because, you know, we don't know all of what's going on. Married at First Sight, we're literally seeing kind of step-by-step process of how the couples are growing together. But in the case of Will and Jada, they've exposed so much that we can only take from that and then just kind of understand the gist of what's going on. One thing I do know for sure is that karma is karma. So when things show up for people, it shows up for you to grow. No matter what difficulties show up in your life, it shows up for you to grow. Let's go ahead and move on to Elijah and Katina. The dating app situation, it all started out with Katina. She was tearing up. She was in front of Jasmina and Michael, and they were having that conversation. Jasmina and Michael took a very nice, objective stance where they're like, okay, we're not going to try to split you from each other, but we will try to help you to maybe think about how things are or can work from here on out, or how you guys can resolve it from here, which I think that's good friendships. However, when Michael was talking about, well, honestly, when Michael was talking to Elijah One, and also when Michael was talking to Katina and telling her about, oh, well, you know, when we get mad and we just say things. And I'm just like, but it's not okay. We're not 5. That's the point. Now, I know men, sometimes they ain't gonna say that to each other. They're not gonna say that to one another. And they're not gonna be all like, hey, you need to do, hey man, what you, like, cause you're dudes and you're friends. Even I'm that way with my friends. I'm like, it's not even though I love coaching, it's not my job to like, I want you to kind of figure it out. I'm just here to like help you in your journey. But honestly, you need an unbiased party, an objective voice to help you, because I'm so biased because I've been with you for so long. that I can't give you an unbiased perspective. But with Elijah, you know, obviously he was stubborn. However, he did admit he was wrong. Him and Cantina made up. There are some issues. Now, Elijah is so interesting to me because he has so many lovable qualities. He has this way about him where he just seems like a very caring person and very self-aware. He's very intelligent. Like he understands thou understand that thou does wrong. Is that the right terminology? I hope. He's understanding that he's doing some things wrong, that he has issues, that he needs to work on certain things. And his coach gave him the best advice, which is like, okay, you need to figure out how to deal with that anger. That's the objective. Figure out how to deal with the anger. It's not like, oh, I'm not going to get angry ever again. You probably will. You probably will get angry because it's not just something you overcome overnight. That anger is coming from a different place. That anger was already inside of you before the relationship even happened. Those issues were already there. The relationship is just triggering. When emotions get involved, you get triggered and things come up. That is what is happening. But are you willing? Do you have I would say the spiritual strength to tackle it and deal with it? Because marriage isn't for the faint of heart, nor is life for the faint of heart. That's why I'm just like, why jump into marriage when you have so much healing to do on your own? I'm the type of person I believe you should do the healing on your own. I'm also just a hermit in general, and it's just my preference. I thrive being alone. I've always have. I learned so much from myself being alone. I need to be with people too, but I love being alone and taking my time in my space to think about things. Okay, moving on. I like to listen to the terminology that people use. For example, Elijah said that he's passionate. He says, I care. He says, I got upset. I mean, it was more than that. When he was describing the situation between him and Cantina with the dating app, it's more than just, I got upset, I care. That's also your way of justifying it. If you're so caught in justifying your emotions, I know that's what's going on in your head, but if you're so caught in justifying as opposed to just being like, that can't happen, that was not okay, I need to find a better way to deal with it. That language shows me growth. The way he describes the situation, obviously, he's still much more caught up in his ego than would be healthy for a partnership. But his coach gave him some great words of advice. He said that sometimes you say words that cannot be unsaid. True. Sometimes you say words that cannot be unsaid. And in this case, for Elijah, that was most definitely the case. That's going to cause a lot of fear and regret in your partnership. You need to be careful with your words. Words can cut like swords. Words most definitely hurt. And they can break people down if they're repeated over and over again. Once it gets in your head and starts creating a cycle, you might start to think a certain kind of way. So let's go ahead and talk about Jasmina's side. Now, Jasmina forgave Elijah. Her forgiving Elijah, I think it's beautiful. I think anyone's ability to forgive, honestly, I give you so much props because I am not that forgiving. I'm like, it's gonna take me time. In fact, I established thick boundaries. I'm going to make sure I'm good before I open my energy up to you first. I'm gonna make sure I'm whole and I'm good before I open my energy up to you. So Jasmina and Michael, Cantina and Elijah are gonna continue to have this back and forth between the two of them. If they do their inner work, this is why inner work is so important. If you do your inner work, your relationship is going to thrive. It's going to be beautiful. They, to me, have the potential for something beautiful because just hear the way they talk about things. There is an enlightenment. For sure, you know, sometimes we look at couples and we're like, oh my God, so toxic, so unhealthy. But when I hear about people, the way that they talk about things as if they truly want to be a good person, I feel like Elijah does want to be a good person. And the way that Katina talks and her friends give her great advice. I feel like they just have the potential for great spiritual growth. It's always a lot more difficult when you're in that partnership where you're triggering each other and you're kind of wound mates before you're helpmates. But maybe that is just the case for some people. If you truly desire a partnership and you're still in your wounded state, you're going to have to deal with that. But I feel like Katina is in a somewhat healthy place to handle it. I just want her to understand that for her, she has to decide where what is the stop for her? What is the stopping point? What is the non-negotiable? Like, this is it. Because I also just need that, like, that boss bad to come out just a little bit more with him. That sass, that pizzazz. She really is trying continuously. If anyone's putting 110% effort, it most definitely is her. However, she's still thinking in her head, is he still gonna hurt me, right? Or that's what her friend presented. to her? Is there a possibility that he can still hurt me? Most definitely yes. And most definitely he will. Because he's done it multiple times in a short period of time. So pay attention to the frequency and the greatness, the loudness of people's anger, their energy. That shows you, that's a preview, what you're going to deal with for the rest of your marriage. Because all you know is what they're showing you now. That's all I have to say about Jasmina and Elijah. I do wish the best for them. Moving on to Noi and Steve. So again, the dog was the winner in this episode, Sushi. Sushi got his bath time, right? Sushi is being embraced by Steve as his child. And Steve is like, wow, I'm really taking on the responsibility of this dog, which I didn't choose to take on. I think it was very honest for him to voice that. It is always assumed, right? Whatever you take with your partner, you take all of them, all parts of them. So if they got a sushi, you got to take Sushi with you. Sushi is now officially your new family member. So while Steve was talking to Mark, he was talking about runway. Now, runway is the terminology for having the financial means to support yourself over a period of time, like savings to support yourself over a period of time. That's great. Sounds like he has some financial knowledge. However, Steve is a dreamer. Look at his bio online about all the things he does. He's a DJ, he's a content creator, this, that, freelancer. He's a dreamer. And there's nothing wrong with that because I'm the same thing. I'm the same thing. Sounds like he's still discovering himself. It sounds like he's still discovering what he wants. Not necessarily ideal for settling. Not necessarily. You want to have at least something that is like a guarantee go with income. You got a business. To me, the reason why I don't believe, and a lot of people say, okay, maybe he's got money here, he's got savings here. It sounds like he definitely has savings and he knows how to save. However, to me, if you're truly an entrepreneur, you would have multiple streams of income. If you're an entrepreneur, you feel settled, you're very financially comfortable enough to get married, you should have multiple streams of income, for sure. Because these days, having multiple streams and making multiple streams of income is easy. It's easy. You got a talent, you got a gift, share it with the world, people will pay you for it. Sounds like he's a dreamer. I'm not hearing a plan. Even Noi said during the after party, it's a mystery to me. He says he is a freelancer, but I don't know what that looks like or is. She doesn't know what he does. That's problematic. It should have been clearly explained and shown to her and demonstrated to her at this point. So, I hear Steve, yes, Noi does need to clean up. Her being sassy about that is unnecessary, but this believe me, you need to believe me. What does that mean? I'm not marrying you for your potential. I need to see a demonstration of what you can do now. I don't know you. You're telling me to stay with you for the rest of my life. You're telling me to share my finances with you for the rest of my life. I need to know how you take care of your finances, how you support yourself. Sounds like he's a responsible guy. But see, I got to kind of get a little bit at Keisha for this. She said that Noi was badgering him for his finances. Now, I didn't see Noi badgering him. She brought it up. And he didn't answer. So until he presents an answer, she will continue to ask because it's a necessary requirement for her to decide if she wants to be with him or not. Here's my thing. If you don't have a plan, if you're not giving me the information, I'm not going to ask you any more than once or twice. You heard the question. You know exactly what I need from you. If you're telling me, he was telling Noi that he needs a plan from her. If you're telling me that you need a plan for you, I don't know what that means. Now, I could tell you, hey, I want a house, 2 cars, 3 kids. There we go. But if you don't have an idea or you don't have a plan yourself that you're ready to present, right? Let's both give our PowerPoint presentations. If you don't have your PowerPoint presentation ready either, you're not ready for marriage. You don't know. It's a mystery. So automatically there's not going to be a back and forth. If you stay in these situations, these relationships where you're constantly having to ask someone for the basic requirements in a relationship, it need not continue. Do not waste your time, because the more you're with someone, you're going to start to develop more and more and more feelings. There are a whole lot of people out there in the world that can meet your basic requirements, can delight you, satisfy you. Make room for those people. But I don't lean into waiting for someone to give you the basic requirements for what you need. So I even my mom was obsessed. She's like, no, he has savings. His father called him a vagabond. I didn't hear that he had multiple streams of income. Men typically are very proud of what they're able to do. So I feel like they would be the ones to be like, hey, this is my stream of income, this is what I do, this is what I do, here's my bank account. I'm surprised that up until this point, he hasn't shown her his bank account, because during the after party, Noi said she hadn't seen his bank account. Why not? Show me the money. Show me the money, show me what you can do. Instead, what he does is he puts an emphasis on how Noi is not doing enough around the house. Sounds like she doesn't want to do bathroom duty. She does sound spoiled. Girl, it sounds like you need to do some more things around the house. Regardless, you know, maybe he is staying at home more often, but putting it on someone to do the chores, I'm like, if you have time to do some chores, why not do some chores? And work your way and ease your way into maybe doing less over a period of time when you guys kind of decide, okay, maybe he's going to be at home more often. It sounds like she does need to do more chores. The way that she was talking about it, it really seems, it felt immature. She even went back on social media. So when Steve was having a conversation with his sister-in-law, he showed her a post that Noi showed or posted on Facebook about something about, I deserve better. If you feel like you deserve better, you do. And he's like, I think that's pointed at me. So her indirect communication to him, it is a bit cowardly. So I think she needs to maybe practice finding a way, because she is very soft-spoken at times. And I think she just gets really shy about sharing those forward thoughts, direct thoughts. Maybe find someone to help you, or ask Dr. Viviana or Dr. Pepper, like, how can I communicate my frustrations more directly in a way that is productive? That's what she needs to do, because her frustrations are not being communicated. Steve noted that. He's very aware, he's very intelligent, but then she posts on social media, and that's just not mature. That's not the mature way to approach a relationship at all. During a conversation, Noi and Steve were on the sofa and they were talking. She was talking about how she was not ready to combine her life and move in with him. When someone says they're not ready, they're not ready. There isn't any confusion there. To me, I'm like, if you're not ready, you're not ready. You just have to decide, do you want to wait for them? Just like Katina said, do I have the patience to wait for this person to figure their ish out? Or should I just move on? That's your only decision. You can't control people. I'm glad he had that conversation with her. She's like working her way around it. She's just like, I don't know, I'm just not ready. I don't feel ready. You're not ready because he's not giving you enough basic requirements when it comes to the financials that for you need to be met for you to get clarity on what he is capable as a man. Now, Noi's brother, sister, Sriracha, said that Steve should get a job not for Noi, but for himself. I would have to agree with this. I think it is a very attractive quality when someone is doing something and is engaged in something worthwhile, that they really enjoy, really love, that they really feel aligned with. To me, that's probably more important than like making an insane amount of money. Is you do something that brings some aliveness back into our relationship. Because if you're feeling excited about life and doing what you love, bring that back into our relationship. Now, Steve was talking about how him getting a job was going to impact the creativity of their relationship. He kept saying that word. That's why I know he's a dreamer. He said the creativity I can bring into our relationship. That's beautiful. You're poetic. You're a dreamer. You're a very creative person. However, this woman is asking of you. Your wife is asking of you. This is what she needs from you. You just have to, don't mislead her. Just let her know. Do you have it to give or do you not have it to give? But he just shrugs his shoulders and is like, but the creativity in our relationship, you can be creative and have a job. You can be creative. I'm an art teacher. I get to I create my curriculum. I have the choice to customize my experiences with my students all the time. Some days I'll be like, oh, you know what? Let's change plans. We'll do something else. You can find a creative career that is fulfilling, that feels exciting to you, that is aligned with your desires. But to me, if you haven't been able to manifest that into your life, it's probably because you have some doubts about yourself. I think Steve, he says it's like freedom. Sometimes I feel like people write it off as like, oh, you know, I'm just a free person. But really, I think you're just looking for yourself. You're looking for your purpose. That's great. I think that's beautiful. But that journey is not really meant for, you know, to take along wife and kids. Like, it sounds like he's starting from scratch. Like, he's starting from the beginning. He was over the the engineer job. He wants something else. So it sounds like he's transitioning into finding something different. It doesn't sound like he's interested in being an engineer. Steve, if you want some coaching, I can help you. If you don't want to be an engineer, that's fine. But you need to figure out what your thing is. Or find something. Practically, you need a job. You know, I can't just live under a roof and pay for gas without having a job or some kind of income coming in. And I decided, hey, I'm going to manifest a job that is aligned with my goals, my desires, and my growth as a person. So if you're not able to do that, that's probably because you're still doubting yourself. And if you feel like you have to prove yourself to people, it's probably because you still have to prove to yourself your worth, your importance. You have to believe it. You don't have to prove anyone anything, but you have to believe it for yourself. That's his struggle. He wants her to believe in him, but does he believe in himself? That's my question to Steve. However, no matter which way you paint it, to me, Steve is just not in a stable place for a marriage. I think what makes Noi and Steve a match is that they genuinely care about each other, but they're both immature in their own ways. He's immature when it comes to, you know, his career. He's highly intelligent. He knows how to communicate. He knows how to give equal value in a relationship. His temperament is amazing. You know, Noi was like, kiss my ass. And he was just like, oh, and he just laughed at it. So his temperament is amazing. He handles conflict really well. Noi, on the other hand, obviously she's figured out her career. She's figured out how to be practical in terms of like taking care of her practical responsibilities, except for this understanding of like the house chores. Honestly, mostly it's the way that she communicates. The way that she communicates. But this sass, to me, I'm just like, we got to set that aside. We have to make space to become and grow in our relationship. So yes, of course, we're not going to have the perfect approach or way of saying things all the time to our partners, but ideally, I think it would be healthy for us to choose the higher road, or the higher response. And I think she does not choose that. There have been times where she's just, you know, fallen underneath that. Let's rise above it, right? Let's resolve this conflict in a responsible, mature way. I would like to see her take on more responsibilities. I just want to see what that would look like if she took on, like she said, she doesn't want to do bathroom cleaning. I'm like, I mean, at some point you're going to have to clean the bathroom. What if your husband isn't there? You know, you can't just push on the chores to him and be like, I need you to do and expect you to do this and this and this because you're not working. You know, you guys are still in a way negotiating with each other. When you're in a relationship, you have to kind of weigh like what's okay and what you don't want to do. This idea of fairness, nothing in life is truly ever fair, but you want to make sure you feel satisfied. You're like, okay, I can do this much and feel like it's not too much for me. So I'm just curious if she just pushes and gives a little bit more in that way, then it can balance out their energy between one another. They can feel more connected to each other. And maybe Steve will get the job. I don't know. But yes, that's all I really have to say about Noi and Steve. That's all I have to say about this episode. I wonder, did you guys enjoy it? I felt like this episode was kind of boring, but overall, it was good to just come back and do another review for y'all. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you guys are interested in looking at my artwork, please do. I have a website online. You can go ahead and check it out. I have photography, drawing, and painting series, and I'm also excited to be bringing some more work into there soon. So we'll see how that moves forward. Thank you guys so much for watching my review of Married at First Sight. I would love to hear what you have to add in the comment section. Please respond down below. I always read all the comments, and I love like hearing what people have to say. Twitter is savage, but y'all are a little bit more respectable here on the YouTube channel. I love it. Hit the like button and subscribe button to support the channel. I would really appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful day or evening, and I'll be back next week for another review. Also, check out, I will be uploading another video of my Heal, Feel, and Reveal series, where I am helping women to jumpstart into really doing things that they love. I'm a creative intuitive. I believe that you can be successful, abundant, and creative. The starving artist idea is outdated. No longer. Struggle life, no longer. Struggle artist, no longer. You can bring both worlds. Steve, hey, Steve, watch the series. Maybe this will help you to feel a lot more focused and clear about what you're doing. And the episode I'll be uploading soon is about manifesting your desires. So make sure you hit the bell notification for that, because that is like my favorite topic to absolutely talk about. And oh my gosh, it's been crazy these past couple of weeks, but I've manifested some amazing experiences, and I wanted to go ahead and share that with you and how I did that. All right, finally, this video is over. I hope you guys have a wonderful day or evening, Married at First Sight family fans. Bye.